Hey everybody, it's Mike Venus La Soul, and I'm back. And this video is in a response to Eddie Lenar, a YouTuber who I'm subscribed to, who talks about doing DAWless kind of hardware setup, and his sampler of choice is the MPC 3000 legendary one. And he did in a recent video, he was talking about guitar pedals and him, buying one and experimenting with it with his 8 outs coming out the back and how he planned on using it. So, I left a comment saying, I got the Zoia and the Poly Beebo, which anybody that watched the channel, they know, because I do talk about these and I do use them in my composition. So that's the Zoia. And it's the Poly Beebo, right? And yeah, those are my two pedals for right now. And I told him, potentially make a pedal board that I can use in conjunction with either the MPC or with the Force. And he was like, he wanted to know more about the Zoia, so let's get into it. So first and foremost, I am a unique creative person. Like, the way I think of creating stuff is kind of outside of the box. It's not the norm. So this might not everybody who has these pedals might use it in the same way I do, but it works for me. Okay, so I'm not gonna go too heavy into the contents of how to build stuff on here and this and that, because it's countless videos. These pedals been out for years, but the Zoia and the Poly Beebo are both modular synthesis guitar pedals. So imagine like a Euro rack, but in a pedal form, right? And each have their own modules that come with it. Meaning you can, make your own modules. You got to work within the modules you have in the pedal. But you can create anything from synthesizers to guitar, effects, your own customized effects, mix effects. Even you can create sequencers, different patterns and all types of loops. The Zoia is coming up soon. They're gonna put a sampler module on there, so you can play back and program samples like a drum machine. So it's pretty dope. So it's kind of like an open source Swiss Army knife type setup, but it's in a pedal form. I love it. I'll say if you could get either one or both. If you're really trying to get into it, get both. But if you trying to get into one, I say probably go to the Zoia. I like the Poly Beebo more for what I do. I use them more as instruments than effects. Just because, like I said, it has the open source mutable instrument platform on there, so I can use that to make my instruments. But the Zoia, if you like the tactile feel of the buttons and connect and stuff like that, to me it's more visually easier to work with, right, than the Poly Beebo, which is all touchscreen. So it's apples oranges. But the way I would use these, and like how I was talking about with the pedal board, I would kind of make a pedal board in the sense of it like as a synthesizer or a sound designing environment, right? So like I said, for right now, I don't use these pedals in their effects. I use them more to create my instruments, to sample into my Force or the MPC and make my compositions that way, because I'm not a traditional sample-based producer in the sense that I sample from records and off of YouTube or anything like that that's copyrighted and I have to deal with clearances and shit like that. Nah. I create my own sounds, I create my instruments, I create my composition, I sample it, into here, and then I take the advantage of the MIDI and audio manipulation capabilities of the Force or the MPC to my advantage. That's how I work. Because I don't really like working on a computer like that if I don't have to. So yeah, in that aspect, I use a lot of sample-based techniques, but I sample my own compositions, and I make my sounds and patterns and instruments utilizing my Force and my pedals. But on the pedal board, if these are the instruments, right, and they're all in one, I want specialized pedals to follow in the chain. So, you know, if it's coming out of the Poly or the Zoia, I want it to probably hit a compressor, right, or hit some type of overdrive. You know, I like overdrive over distortion because distortion to me, it muddies up the clarity of the note. So I never really like distortion. I like overdrives, right? So I might put an overdrive on the pedal board, and then if I have any modulation type pedals like chorus or flanger or tremolo or, you know, phaser or some shit like that, some crazy sound, I might have that on there. But I do know if I get an effects pedal in the sense of a reverb or a delay, which are time-based pedals, or time-based effects, I want them from a particular company, you know, because even though Empress makes great effects, you know what I'm saying, they're not the same as a specialized, like the delays on here are not like the specialized delay pedal. That's all it does. It doesn't try to do everything. It's doing one thing. It's like Rick Fox or Derek Fisher or Robert Horry on the Lakers teams that had Kobe and Shaq. Their job was just to like basically get open and hit the corner and hit down the three if the defense collapsed on Kobe and Shaq. They weren't trying to take over the game. They just played their role. Play some good defense. You know what I'm saying? Stay out of the way of Shaq and Kobe, but anytime that shit crashed down on them, be ready to catch a ball and knock down the three. Okay, we're going to make them hurt. That's what I want to do with the pedals. So on the pedal board, like I said, I like the Poly Beebo. I like the Zoia to primarily be instruments. And I'm looking at the Mood MK2 as another instrument, and then get specialized pedals like a compressor, delay, reverb, and maybe some modulated pedal sound effect that's a particular chorus, stuff like that. I personally like boutique pedals. I'm weird, meaning like it has to call out to me. I like colors and shit. So, you know, motherfuckers might say, well, why you want to go and spend all that money on that type of pedal and this and that? It's because shit look cool. You know what I'm saying? You want to play like this 2000 XL back here, this orange one. Like, the shit is dope. Is it any difference between this and the fucking original 2000 XL that look like a giant cash register calculator type shit? No. But this just looks more appealing with the orange and the pink and, you know, all the colors, the purple. You just be like, wow, I want to play on it. So, you know, I'm funny like that. So, but yeah, that's what I want to do with the pedal board. I want to basically create my own instruments. And not only just, let's say, not just for these pedals, but if I get a guitar or a small synth, or if I want to use my voice, I can run it through that chain of effects and sample it into the Force and use it in my composition. So the pedal board will serve more than just one thing. So besides buying a multi-effects processor board or using plugins and shit, I want the pedals. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, Lord willing, I might build a small skiff if that's what I want to use with my setup. But yeah, the guitar pedals I think is a great way to get into sound designing, creating different textures and things that you can't really do with plug-in effects or with the effects that come inside your machine. You know, you're limited that way. This allows a little bit more customization, a little more personalization when it comes to your tone and effects. So that's what I plan on doing. You know, I'm trying to make the transition from playing guitar as comfortable as possible. So building a pedal board, building my effects, building my instruments the way I want is something that I really enjoy, and it also helps me to create something that sounds just like me and not like you. Because I'm not a poser, I'm not a biter, not an imitator. I'm an originator. I'm a trailblazer, innovator, all that. I push the envelope. So yeah, and that's cool. You don't have to do what I do, but you can get this pedal and use the effects to color your sound, or in my case, I use it to make instruments. You can do the same thing too, or you can use it to do other things. But just know, like, there's so many possibilities you could do with a guitar pedal, and you don't even have to get this pedal. You know what I'm saying? I would suggest you get one of these or both, because it will come in clutch. But just anything that will color and change up your signal path, sonic wise, get into guitar pedals. You know, these are pretty pricey though. The Zoia, this is pretty pricey. You can get this on Sweetwater. This might run you about $500. And the same thing with the Poly Beebo. It's about $500-600. You know what I'm saying? And but they're very durable, and you have to buy a power supply. You can easily get that at Guitar Center or, you know, Sam Ash, wherever, you know. But yeah, that's what I plan on doing, Eddie. And yeah, now I don't know how I would do it, because I don't have 8 outs on the MPC. I'm primarily gonna use the MPC as a drum machine and use my Force to do all the, you know, my compositions and shit, because I have the arranger in here, so I can basically, once I sample everything in or like what I like, I, you know, turn it into a wave file, and I already got my mix down. So, you know, it is what it is. So yeah, that's what I plan on doing. I'm Mike Venus, La Soul. Hopefully this was helpful, educational. Yeah, and you know, as I decide to build on that, I will document my process on building my pedal board for my instruments, and if I plan on getting into, you know, purchasing and building a Euro rack. So I'll keep you in the loop. But until then, I'm using my guitar pedals because they clutch. And with that, I'm Mike Venus, La Soul. Until next time, y'all be blessed. Mike out.